Okay, guys, I'm back in Houston from the Florida International Audio Expo in Tampa. Great time, as you probably, if you followed my coverage, we had a great time, and I tried to take you guys along for the ride. Great meeting many of you. Some of you were following along with me and going into rooms, and I just want to do some housekeeping real quick. Number one of the most common questions I got was, how do I either get the Bach? What's the update on that? Look at my coverage right before this show. I did some updates on the Bach, but I have now a link for the Bach for Mac if you want to buy that for me. That's one thing that I now have a website up for Bach for Mac. I'm going to have the all-in-one Bach solution. I've already scheduled some demos here. The other question so if you're in Houston, you're welcome to schedule a demo with me of that Bach. The other question I got most often is, how do I become a member of the WhatsApp group? And I probably haven't explained this in a while. What you do is you subscribe to the YouTube channel, then there should be a join button somewhere. I know sometimes on cell phones or for whatever reason is glitchy. Try to get or put my name, the link to my main YouTube channel, and then /join. It should bring you to that page. If you don't see the join button, you join, you can support the channel. It's a modest amount, like the equivalent of a cup of coffee you're buying me a month, and then you get access to the WhatsApp group, and basically every day we have interactions, if not sometimes hourly, and a lot of back stuff, scuttlebutt from behind the scenes, stuff from the show I'm going to be sharing, stuff that my friend Doug and I are buying and getting involved with. If you want to learn a little bit more like that kind of coverage that I've been doing, join the WhatsApp group, and you can do that through YouTube. Now, the other thing that I get asked about is, or I get a lot of praise for, is my coverage. And I wanted to just share with you guys why I do the coverage I do. Number one being, before I had a channel, I'd go to these shows for 20 plus years. And I always noticed that so many brands that I would go into the rooms with never got much coverage in the magazines. And at the time, there was only really 2 or 3 magazines curating all the content and controlling, what people saw and heard. And I just thought it was unfair to a lot of these brands that were there that just didn't get their message out. And they spent a lot of time, delivering the gear, setting it up, tirelessly sitting in front of it, playing songs, sometimes skipping lunch. And I just thought, if I ever did show coverage, I was going to give these guys a chance to give their spiel, learn more about them. Because then as I did learn more about them, I was realizing that a lot of these brands have a lot of advantages over the big boys, have more of a passion, are putting R&D and performance above things that the bean counters tell them not to do. And those are the kind of brands I want to support. Those are the kind of people I want to support. Those are the ones I feel good about spending my money with. And whenever I've done that, it's rewarded me tenfold back in learning more about the industry, learning more about it, and enjoying the hobby. Whereas on the flip side, when especially my friends have been involved with brands that weren't that great, that sours you on the hobby. It totally, takes the life out of you. It's like a gut punch when you deal with some of these companies that aren't as scrupulous. And so what the main benefit of these shows are, get to know the people behind the scenes. And that's why I like to show and give them a chance to walk you through with like small companies like the Margulis. Although they've been in business for a long time, not really that small, but you get to learn why you can touch their tubes, their innovative design in tubes. Things like the Eminent Technology, even the TAD is a bigger company, but you got to learn about their porting that a lot of people don't even know about on that new model. And then the Lanshay speakers with the plasma tweeter. Then the great presentation that Isaac and them did on the Acora, getting a little bit behind the scenes of what went into that. And then let me tell you guys, none of those presentations were pre-planned at all. I just spring it on them when I come in there. I say, hey, can we turn off the music and you walk us through the system? And these guys are doing it off the cuff. And I like that because that's what people usually are the most genuine, authentic, and at least have a passion you can feel for their goods when they do it. So that's one of the other benefits of doing it. I like to also not just give my opinions. When I have friends with me, I like to share theirs because we don't all hear the same. We don't all agree on the same rooms. So getting you a little bit of more opinions than just what I say. I'm not here to tell you or control what you believe and say, and I want to just give you whatever I see. Make your own, whatever resonates with you. Some of those presentations may, some of them may not. Some of the songs may, some of them may not. Some of the gear may look good or not look good to you. So let you make your decision, and that's why I do the coverage I do. But another benefit, people ask, why do you do the music clips? You can't tell anything. And it's true, you're not getting a true representation of what it's like to be there. But you do get a flavor, number one. And number two, you get, sometimes it'll help you in your own system if maybe you have some sibilance problem on a same song you hear in there. And then you hear in the recording that I did, oh, that system didn't have that same sibilance that I have, or that same etched or same exaggeration. It may let you say there's something in your system you need to address that you got value from hearing the recording. But the overriding reason I do these recordings is that we want more content to play on our system, right, guys? And these recordings sometimes will enlighten you of recordings you haven't heard before. Oh my God, that sounds good. Christian McBride, I've known him forever, but a lot of people, that's their first time hearing Christian McBride, or Marcus Miller, and then even these punishing tracks like James Blake, Limit to Your Love. A lot of people didn't know about that, and that's a cool track to play, especially if you want to break your ribs and break windows, like we did in one of those rooms. But these are the kind of reasons I also provide that in my show coverage. So I hope you enjoy that part of it. What I wanted to do, like I also do every show, is at the end, not only give top rooms, and that's going to be a long video, so I'm not going to do it just yet. It'll take me a while to do that one. But also give you my favorite tunes that I heard at the show. And then you can look them up. And maybe I'll put a Qobuz playlist that I can share in public, and you guys can have it for Florida International Expo 2023. Doug was doing Shazam on a lot of those, so I'm going to curate that playlist and do that later. But I wanted to give you an overriding takeaway from the show, like I had in Capital Audio Fest. There was a song by Tracy Chapman, All That You Have Is Your Soul, that I thought was always her best song ever, and I never understood why that wasn't her biggest hit. I loved it so much, and the takeaway was I heard it in a room there. It just made the show for me, and there's so much content on top of that for that song that's great on YouTube. Not too much, but very riveting content. Well, guess what? This show brought up is even more thematic, because the song I heard that's very synonymous with Tracy Chapman is Goes to Tom Joad by Bruce Springsteen. And let me tell you, I think that's one of his best songs. It's the most underrated song he's done. One of my favorites that he's done. And I tell you what, guys, what was so great is I didn't even get this on video because I wasn't in the sweet spot. I was in the NBL room, and I noticed everybody was bobbing their head, enjoying. Not a single person left while they were playing Ghost of Tom Joad in the NBL room. And when I saw that kind of reaction to the song that I love, and I see the NBL's playing it so great, I wish I would have had it on video, but it was a great takeaway for me as my number one song that I'm always going to remember this show for, because it's a great song for a reference track. It's that harmonica and the vocals, it doesn't test a lot, but what it does test and let you concentrate on is very important and vital. And if you are bobbing your head and getting those subliminal cues, that tells you your system's doing something right, at least in those frequencies and for that song. But if it's not, if it's giving you problems, then that may be something to look at. But the overriding theme, reason why I'm picking that song as well, is that what's going to be one of my top rooms, if not the top room, is the fact that one room showed video content, Joseph Audio, on YouTube using just an Apple TV, and it was phenomenal sounding. I mean, phenomenal sounding. Nobody was feeling like that was inferior source quality material. In fact, in many cases, the Tiny Desk concerts are superior to many streaming and studio versions. The miking, just everything about it, the performance itself is usually better. Same thing with anything by the later with Jules Holland. Just so many BBC recordings on YouTube, better than the streaming version, performance-wise and recording-wise. But getting back to my favorite from this show, Goes to Tom Joad, another reason why I love that song is that you have the streaming version with the harmonica, but he's done some collaborations with Tom Morello with Rage Against the Machine, who, for me, my favorite guitarist, and it's not even close, to be honest with you. I love his guitar playing. It's just phenomenal. And he did, both of them played that song, Goes to Tom Joad, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And there's a few other concerts where they played together. And what I'm going to do is put that in this video, and you can hear the streaming version on my system, then the YouTube version of Bruce playing it, with the visual similar to the streaming, the studio recording, and then watch Tom Morello at the end of this song, them together playing it in a whole different vibe. And again, it just shows the importance, guys. Yes, if you just had that streaming version, you're good. That's great. But if you have the visual of Bruce singing it and explaining why he wrote that song, then you also have the collaboration with Tom Morello, watching him on the guitar, listening to it. This is where you can take your system and enjoyment of all the dollars you invested to the next level. If you have servers, that's why I build my own servers. I've had videos on this in the past. Maybe I need to revisit it, but I'm going to explain to you why having video capabilities with your server is imperative, or else you're missing all of this content to use your system and only left with your streaming stuff. So without further ado, let you enjoy this, and I'll be back with a lot more recordings and playlists from this show, as well as my best stuff. So sign up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you back here soon.